Most people think debt is what keeps you poor. Credit card debt, car loans, missed payments, interest. For most people, debt feels like a trap. So here's the strange part. If debt is so dangerous, why do the richest people in the world keep using it? Why do giant companies borrow billions of dollars when they could simply use their own money? And why do banks often offer their best loan terms to people who already have millions? To answer that, we need to stop thinking about debt as money and start thinking about debt as a tool. Because the truth is, debt isn't what makes people rich or poor. It's how they use it. Most people only see one type of debt, the kind that takes money out of your pocket. Imagine someone borrows money to buy a luxury watch. The watch doesn't make money. It doesn't generate income. It doesn't grow in value fast enough to offset the loan. So now they have a monthly payment, interest, and an asset that's losing value. The debt made them poorer. Not because debt is bad, but because the thing they bought doesn't produce anything. Now let's look at a different example. Imagine someone borrows money to buy a rental property. The property generates rent every month. That rent helps cover the loan payment. Over time, the tenant is helping pay off the debt. At the same time, the owner still controls the property. Same tool, completely different outcome. This is where most discussions about debt go wrong. People often ask, is debt good or bad? That's the wrong question. The real question is, what is the debt buying? Because debt used for consumption behaves very differently from debt used to acquire productive assets. And that's exactly why wealthy people think differently about it. Let's imagine two people. The first person has $100,000. The second person also has $100,000. The first person buys a $100,000 asset using only cash. Simple. No debt. No risk from borrowing. The second person uses that $100,000 as a down payment and controls a much larger asset. Now, this comes with more risk. If things go badly, losses can be larger. But if the asset grows, the gains can also be much larger. This concept is called leverage. And leverage is one of the most powerful tools in finance. Think of it like a lever. A small force can move a much larger object. Debt works similarly. A relatively small amount of capital can control a much larger asset. That's why investors, businesses, and real estate owners constantly use leverage. Not because they lack money, but because leverage can increase the efficiency of their capital. And that brings us to another interesting question. If debt is so useful, why doesn't everyone use it the same way? Because banks don't see all borrowers equally. Most people think banks love lending money. That's only partially true. Banks love safe lending. Imagine two borrowers. The first has no assets, no investments, no significant savings. The second owns valuable assets and has a long history of successful repayments. If both ask for a loan, who looks safer? The answer is obvious: the second borrower. That's why wealthy people often receive lower interest rates, larger credit lines, and better borrowing terms. It feels unfair. But from the bank's perspective, it's simply risk management. The richer the borrower, the lower the perceived risk. And lower risk usually means cheaper debt. Now we arrive at the real secret. Most people think wealth comes from having money, but many wealthy people focus on something else: control. Imagine a business opportunity appears tomorrow. A new property, a promising company, a valuable asset. Someone using only cash must either spend their money or walk away. Someone with access to financing has another option. They can control the opportunity without paying the entire amount up front. That's one reason debt has become such a powerful wealth-building tool. It allows capital to move faster. It allows opportunities to be captured sooner. And it allows investors to expand beyond what cash alone would make possible. But before you start thinking debt is some kind of magic shortcut, there's something important to remember. Leverage amplifies outcomes. It doesn't create them. If an investment succeeds, leverage can magnify gains. If an investment fails, leverage can magnify losses. The same force that helps create wealth can also destroy it. History is full of people who borrowed too aggressively and lost everything. So debt itself isn't the secret. Understanding debt is. At this point, the answer to our original question should be clear. Why do rich people love debt? Because they often use it to acquire assets that have the potential to generate more wealth. They don't view debt as money. They view it as leverage, a tool that can help them control larger opportunities with less upfront capital. And that's the lesson most people miss. Debt isn't automatically good. Debt isn't automatically bad. It's simply an amplifier. Use it to buy liabilities, and it can make you poorer. Use it to acquire productive assets, and it can accelerate wealth creation. The richest people in the world understand that difference, and that understanding changes everything. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.